Hi guys, I am going to do a changing video with Ireland. I am finally going to get her out of her cozy sweater, which I believe was a theme of the week back in February. And let's see, let's stick it there. Oh. Okay then, I guess it won't stick there. She has a onesie on, so I can take that off. But I kind of wanted to talk to about something today. I've seen a few different channels and like on Instagram and stuff, or even in general, because this has happened in the past. When does this hobby become something more than a hobby? When does it become an obsession? When does it become an addiction? Or just the negative stigmas that comes with doll collecting. And some of us, I'm not saying everyone, feel this way, but sometimes when you run across those type of channels or those type of Instagrams and whatnot, or even people on Facebook, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts before I fully dive into my opinion on it? Like I said, I've seen a few recently, and I've seen plenty in the past where it feels like this is more than just a doll collecting hobby. And I know in the past, I used to take my dolls out a lot more, but I knew they were dolls. I realized they were dolls, and at the point I took them out, yes, I was having fun with them, but if somebody asked it was a doll, I wouldn't say no. Typically when they would see me out with one of the dolls, because this onesie is really tight, because where my husband and I lived when we first got married, all the high schools had the baby think it over programs. They all had them. So pretty much it wasn't uncommon to see the dolls out in public. Now it was a little bit different, if you took them out during non-school. Sorry guys, the battery died on me, and it was really strange because it was a fully charged battery. So anyways, what I was saying is, if I took them out when it was summer, some people would kind of question it. Some people just thought that some schools or even some other programs had the dolls, and my husband and I looked young enough to still be in high school. I mean, I had only been out of high school a couple years, but I looked young for my age, and so did my husband. And so if we had them out, typically people would either assume we were still in high school, or if it was during the summer, they're like, oh, you're taking a parenting class. So I mean, if people said something like that, they realized they're dolls. I've never lied about them not being dolls. Some cases, I just straight out say, we want a child, and we know we're not ready for a child. And so just, to have fun sometimes, we take them out. And I'll describe her outfit at the end. So we'd go out and we'd have fun with them. We didn't take them out all the time or every day. I mean, it would just be on a Saturday, if I didn't have to work, and he didn't have to work, and we'd go to a movie or something, we might take one with. Or if we were just going out for the day, there's sometimes even just running the car to the car wash, we might take one with. But we realized they were dolls. We knew they were dolls. And at Christmas I would have little a Christmas type party. I'd buy each one a gift. Usually it was an outfit, and or something similar to that, and then wrap it up and pretend they were opening their Christmas gifts. And a few times I did birthdays, but that didn't last long because there was some dolls that I didn't have very long, and it got too time consuming for the amount of dolls that I had. Like if it was the day that I got them, which is their quote birthday, or if I didn't even have them a year or whatnot. So I stopped doing that. I think I only did that for maybe 1 or 2 of my dolls. Had a little birthday party for them, but other than that, and even at that, like the birthday party was literally me just buying cupcakes and then taking a few things that I had at home and wrapped them up and pretended they were opening. And this was also back in doll form days, like Doll Chatter and Doll Fan, where people would do picture stories. And that was typically what I would do them for. Now, with YouTube, it would make it much harder to do. I mean, I know there are people out there that do more role-playing with their dolls on YouTube. But for mine, it was more role-playing with pictures, because you can set up the picture and take the picture and then set something else up. It's not live action. But where, to me, it gets a little bit into the beyond is it seems like there are some people out there that it's almost like they're unaware they're not dolls. And maybe it's just me wanting my family's acceptance of collecting dolls, but their families go beyond that and almost encourage some of the behaviors, which in my opinion it's almost hurtful within the doll community, because these are some things that people that have been in the doll community for years have been trying to break stigmas of. They're trying to like break the stigmas, like the stigma that the only reason why somebody collects dolls or reborns is because they can't have a child, or they need to take the doll out with them for anxiety reasons, or they need to take, or they've lost a child, or this or that, or this or that. I mean, there's lots of things that I've heard from other people say, trying to justify it. Truthfully, if somebody asks me, I'm going to straight out tell them, I just like to do it for fun. I mean, that's the straight out answer. That's the honest answer, because this is a hobby to me. This is a fun hobby to me. It's no different than somebody collecting trains. It's no different than somebody collecting cars. Matchbox cars or real-sized cars. I mean, to me, it's not that big of a difference than any sort of collecting. It's just some people, yes, get creeped out, quote, by the realness factor of them. But the reality of it is, they are dolls, and I know they're dolls, and I've known they were dolls since I first got them. And I mean, there are lots of us that don't fall into any of those categories of excuses others give. Like I said, the anxiety, lost a child, couldn't have children. I mean, in my own personal infertility struggles, I had the dolls prior to even finding out any of that. So it wasn't because we couldn't have a child that we knew of at that point. The reason why I collected dolls is because my husband and I wanted to have kids. We knew we financially were not ready and stable to do that. And we chose, or I chose, because I wanted to collect them. He kind of just went along with it. And to, start collecting the dolls. And, taking them out occasionally and such. So it started out that way. Then when we lost our first pregnancy, that was when my husband was in Iraq. I was alone, and truthfully, I packed up a bunch of my dolls when that happened, because it to see them. I left a few out, but I packed up most of them. And then when he got back and we lost our twins, that's when the rest of them got packed up. And they were literally packed up from the point he got back from Iraq until we moved into the house we bought, which was almost 6 months later. They got unpacked, all of them changed into matching clothes and put up on a shelf. And they were not touched for another few weeks until Crystal came. And then when Crystal came, I had a Japanese Real Care 2. Yeah, she was a 2. A Real Care 2 female that I had named Tristan. And Tristan was the only one that I took down, changed. Crystal and I had fun with Tristan, and I can't remember if she had her doll named Veda then or if it was Haley then. But we took the 2 dolls out and we had fun that week. And then when I got home, Tristan went back on the shelf with the rest of them. And when I got pregnant with my son, I ended up starting to sell them just because I figured the money for my child was more important than the dolls. But that's my own personal story. And yes, I know everybody's story is different. But, you know, it's kind of frustrating when you're trying to break a stigma and people within the community are still spreading the stigma. I know Crystal said that she's gone out, like her and Paul have gone out with the babies, and people have even asked them, oh, are these the dolls that people collect because they can't have babies or they lost a baby? And that's what's kind of getting out there, is people are hearing this from doll collectors repeatedly, and my personal opinion is they're just trying to justify it. Instead of just saying, oh, we do it for fun, they say those things so that the person isn't going to judge them. And in reality, I could care less if a perfect stranger is going to judge me. I mean, if you're going to judge me and walk away like, who's this nut job, whatever. I'm comfortable in my life. I'm comfortable with my collection. I'm comfortable in those aspects. I don't need to justify saying, oh, I have this baby because I lost a baby, or I have this baby because I can't have kids, or I have this baby because I have anxiety and I need to take it out with me. Truth be known, I personally, unless I'm in a bigger group, have more anxiety taking a doll out than not. If I'm with my kids, it's not as bad. But since I don't have my kids on the channel, I really can't film all the outings that we've done with them. And that was a mutual decision between my husband and myself. But it just, people see me out with the kids and the doll, and yes, I have the car seat and I have the stroller. You know, you may get a few stray looks, but nobody really says much, especially, like I said, when I'm out, my daughter likes to push the stroller. So it looks like she's out with her baby. And it's not uncommon, especially nowadays with the internet and Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and such, that parents are buying cheap dolls, or not dolls, are buying cheap strollers and such for their kids, for their babies. Because for my daughter, she has a couple Dolly strollers, and a lot of them, the US ones for toy strollers, are cheaply made and they're crap. She's got like those cheapy $10 like Walmart or Target ones. The first one that she got thrown in the garbage. The second one that she got, I had to patch up. Teffy, what are you doing? And I had to patch up. There we go. And it's kind of gimped along. And then she's gotten this one for her birthday from my parents. And Teffy, what are you doing? She got one from my parents. She got My Little Pony set that it was a bouncer, a little Dolly stroller, and I think a diaper bag looking thing. And the bouncer's fine. The diaper bag looking thing is fine, but the stroller is starting to fall apart. And it's too short for her because she is taller for her age. So, and we have the Juvie one, which I really like the Juvie one, but because it's a sit-and stand, she doesn't like taking it out because the dolls in the back usually fall through. And that frustrates her. And she doesn't like, and it's really long. And I would love if I could find a stroller made similar to that Juvie one, because that Juvie one's the right height for her, and it's well made. If I could find something like that for her dolls, I think she would like it, but being I can't, in some of the doll strollers that are better made, you might as well just go on Craigslist or Facebook and buy a $10 to $20 used stroller and let her push that around. And at least then you can sell it later on for the same amount of money. But, you know, letting her push the doll around, people are just assuming it's hers. And yes, I've taken them out alone, but not very frequently for those reasons. And that's just my own personal preference. Now, when we go to the Mall of America and there's the group of us at the meetup, you know, that's going to be, I'll be perfectly fine with that because there's going to be a group of us. If I could find a group of people local to me that would want to go on a Dolly date or go do a Dolly meetup somewhere, you know, depending upon the day, obviously, I would love to do that. And I would have no issues. I would love to take my dolls out in a group setting. So, and back to the fact, even taking them out in the group setting, I would still tell the truth if people come up in, granted, and if you have a group of people with dolls, they're not going to be like, oh, so why are you doing this? Just, we're doing it for fun. And like I said, the other thing is, it's sometimes where people are treating them as they're real. They're throwing birthdays for them. They're throwing birthday parties for them every year. They're doing like major milestones that you would for like a real child. I've seen a couple that they age up their dolls. And, I mean, even as a doll collector, that one I don't fully understand. I mean, and that may be one of the situations as somebody that can't have a child. So I try not to judge, but to me, some of those things are why the community gets so frowned upon as look like we're crazy people. Because people that treat them fully as they're real. There was a documentary from the UK quite a few years ago. I can't even remember what it was called. And there was this lady that, well, I had talked to her briefly on Doll Fan before from the UK. I mean, she was very, 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 like, OCD particular. And while she was a nice person, it just, you know, it made the rest of us as a whole look like we were a little on the crazy side, because they're only picking and choosing to do these documentaries certain people that they know that are going to get the views and the attention. But that's not how she had her dolls, and what she bought for her dolls was not typical of the hobby. Like, this was when silicone, like, not even full body silicones. This was still when clay, one-of-a-kind dolls were very popular. Silicone dolls were popular, but most of them were cloth body silicones. And she was going out to expensive department stores. Some of them not even department stores. Like, some of them are like ultra expensive designer type stores. And purchasing like, I want to say it was like almost a $300 pacifier holder, or no, bottle holder with the bottle. Like ultra expensive. And while yes, she could afford it, and I'm not judging her on how to spend her money, it just, for the longest time after that video, whenever you would say you were a doll collector, people that had seen that documentary would ask you, oh, do you spend outrageous amounts of money on your dolls? And it's like, no. The average person that's in this community doesn't do that. So that's where it gets a little frustrating, and I know I'm kind of rambling. So that's kind of how I feel about, when the hobby gets into too much. Even at that, like, when does the hobby go into, like, hoarding situations where, you're foregoing paying bills and buying food for yourself just so you can get another doll, and you're getting multiple dolls, and you're getting more dolls than you're getting rid of. Then to me, that's getting into a hoarding situation. And I know everybody has their own personal limits of how many dolls they feel comfortable with. And it also has to do with what kind of space you have available. Like, right now I have trying to think, is there 6 or 7? 14 Real Care, Baby Think It Over, and neonates. I think it's 14. And I keep them contained in a way that it's not overwhelming. And I mean, hearing 14, it sounds very overwhelming even right now. But because I have all the neonates and my Generation 4 and Real Care 2 in the crib, and then I have the 2 3s and the 3 2+s on the changing table, because that's where I have my charger, it doesn't feel like a whole lot. It doesn't feel that much because of how I have it spaced out. Now, if I had a smaller space and I wasn't able to have the crib and the changing table, oh yeah, you better believe I either would have to have something to display them in, like a shelf, or I probably wouldn't have this many because it would be too overwhelming. And I think at max, dolls that I would want to have would be 26. And once again, that's a whole huge overwhelming number. But I would need a heck of a lot more space for that. And when you, even at the point that I have, the amount that I have now, sometimes I don't feel like I can even enjoy all of them. Because, like, look at poor Ireland. Just got changed from February, and yeah, I make more videos with my Real Cares than I do my neonates, but I'm supposedly do changing videos with them. It just they don't get as much attention, and that's where it's almost like, okay, when is enough? Like, the fact that it takes you days to change your massive collection, and to me it becomes a hoarding situation in some cases, especially when it's like I need to still keep buying, I need to still keep buying, I need to still keep buying. So those are my own personal opinions. I know everybody's opinions are going to be different, and like I said at the beginning, leave your comments below on what you feel on the subject. And I will quickly describe what Ireland is wearing. She's wearing one of those onesie dress things that it's like a onesie. But it's got, this one I don't think is it is. It's a full dress. It's Koala Baby, I believe. Yes, it's Koala Baby. And this one it's a tank top like one, or sleeveless. It's got ruffles around the neck with a bow, a cloth bow, and those are like a aqua color. And the dress part is white with aqua polka dots. The onesie part underneath is that same aqua color. Or is it aqua or is it teal? Kind of a tealy aqua color. I wouldn't really call it either. And then at the bottom it's got these flowers and strawberries. So it's got flowers on each end, strawberries, and then a flower in the middle. And it looks like the flowers, I think, are daisies. They're just white flowers and then pink strawberries. And the next changing video will be Kyanna in a similar outfit to this, because I realized I had 2 of them. So I thought I would change them into matching outfits. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and I will see everyone later. Bye!